Hello and welcome back. This is the inaugural Embossing Folder Fridays video. It is a monthly series that features an embossing folder. We are choosing an embossing folder theme and then starting our card designs with the folder. This is hashtag driven, so when you see below the hashtag EFF1, that is for Embossing Folder Fridays 1. So just click on that and the other videos should appear. At first I thought I'd be pretty fancy and use red glitter cardstock with this folder, but when I ran it through, it didn't turn out quite the way I wanted. I'm not sure if it was because the paper is pretty thick. So I went ahead and I grabbed some other colors of cardstock and I ended up going with pink. And this is, of course, a light pink, and this is just plain cardstocks, like 65 pound. And I really like the way this one turned out. So then I go ahead and get a card base together. I'm doing a top fold, which is one of my favorites. And I adhere the embossed paper down to my card base. I had picked up this Lawn Fawn stamp set called Scent with Love and decided to use it. I stamped up the entire sheet a couple of times and started coloring away, but then I just ended up with these three. I decided I was just going to use a few of them, so those are the ones I chose. I fussy cutted those out. Fussy cutted? Fussy cutted is a word now. And then I decided to make a frame. I was just going to use that red glitter cardstock to make a frame for my little skunk and his envelopes. But I ended up with two different cuts. I ended up with a large square and then the frame. And so, of course, now that I have these two and they match, I'm thinking shaker card. So that's where I went. I went ahead first and cut down a piece of acetate and glued that to the frame. I took my time here, trying not to get glue everywhere. Did an okay job of it. I laid down my acetate. There was a tiny bit kind of overhang on one side, so I ended up just using my scissor to cut that piece off. Lately, when I make a shaker, I use these foam strips that I get from scrapbook.com. They are pretty inexpensive. They are pre-cut. And it's way easier than trying to cut down the giant roll of Scotch foam into tiny 1/8-inch strips. So I use this. It's also easy to trim. I take my time so that the acetate doesn't buckle. And then I go ahead and get that finished up off camera. I like to glue down a couple of the elements in any of my shaker cards. Here I have some polymer clay slices that are hearts. And I wanted a little something extra, so I grabbed this little bag of beads, but I didn't like the purple pink ones, so I just picked out some of the white ones. They are clear with a white center, so that took me a couple minutes. And once I got a few of those mixed in there, I realized that I wanted some of these hearts also glued to the backing, so I glued down a couple of those. Just to give myself an extra second of wiggle room, I put some white glue, some art glitter glue, on top of my foam strips. I didn't do the cleanest job of it. I was trying to keep the elements from jumping around and the acetate flat and the foam from sticking, so I just did the best I could. And there it is. Now I decided to put my little skunk on the front here. I was going to put him off to the side, but then I kind of liked him in the middle floating around a little bit. I also glued down the envelope. This envelope, if I would have thought about it before I glued the skunk down, you know, I might have put him on the other side. I may have put it on the other side so that the envelopes wouldn't be right next to each other because they're both glued down. But it turned out okay. So I just glued down my shaker element onto my card base. Try to even it up in between the hearts there. And there was quite a bit of blank space at the bottom. I know this is about the folder, but you can definitely see the folder even with the sentiment strip. This says, "This card is sent with love," which is super cute. I popped it up on some foam, and my card is done. Thanks so much for watching another one of my videos. I appreciate it so much. Don't forget to click the hashtag and see all of the other Embossing Folder Friday videos. I hope you'll join us again next month. Until then, have a great day, and don't forget, safety first.